Did you know that if Cristobal Balenciaga did not help his mother while she worked, he would have missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime? Growing up with a single mother, Cristobal was always assisting his mum so she could earn more money to take care of the family. It was during these dire times that he got noticed and then given an opportunity of a lifetime that put him on track to establish the billion-dollar empire that Balenciaga is today. In this video, we'll be discussing the interesting life and career of Cristobal Balenciaga, a man so influential and so ahead of his time that designers like Coco Chanel and Christian Dior gave nothing but their highest honors and praises to him. Cristobal was born on the 21st of January 1895 in Getaria, Spain. His father died when he was very young, so Cristobal and his 4 siblings, Maria, Marcelina, Lucia, and Juan Martin, were raised by their mother, Martina Ezeguera. Martina was a seamstress, and as a considerate young boy, he was always at his mother's side trying to help her work. His mother worked hard and was able to build a good reputation. Because she came highly recommended and word of mouth about how good she was spread like wildfire, the Marchioness of Casa Torres hired Martina as her personal seamstress. This was great for the family because it meant her work would be noticed by more of the Spanish elites. Cristobal developed a sudden interest in high-end fashion as he was fascinated by the kind of designs his mother was delivering. The Marchioness noticed Cristobal loved to hang around in the store. During one of her visits, she had a conversation with him. She saw his keen appreciation for designs and offered to set him up with a fashion designer as an apprentice. He took advantage of this opportunity. His skills improved greatly, and he was often described as a prodigy. At 24, Cristobal already had a long line of returning clients, most of which were of the Spanish noble class. He knew that they preferred making a statement with custom dresses that nobody else had seen when attending galas and other formal events. He took advantage of this and opened a couture boutique in San Sebastián, Spain in 1917. The boutique was called Asa, a shortened form of his mother's maiden name. Asa was an instant success because Cristobal's designs were a unique fusion of European and Japanese fashion. During the next couple of years, the boutique rose quickly to become the most popular in the country. However, in 1931, the Spanish monarchy was abolished and the noble class lost its resources and power. After losing his clients, Cristobal ran out of business. This was just a temporary setback, though. Cristobal was too talented and too resourceful to not get back on his feet. He moved to Paris in 1937, where he opened a couture house which he named Balenciaga on 10 Avenue George V. His first collection was greeted with tremendous success. 2 years later, he was inspired by the 17th century Spanish fashion and released a revolutionary collection in early 1939. Due to the layer of cultural relevance from the ongoing Spanish Civil War, the collection had everybody talking. Months later, the wide reception the collection was receiving came to an abrupt end at the start of the Second World War. Luckily, his business did not suffer. This time, Balenciaga did not restrict himself to high-end fashion alone. Some of the pieces in his recent collection, like the square coat, were so iconic that people risked their lives entering France just to buy them. Balenciaga came out strong by the time the war was over in 1945. The same could not be said for many other fashion brands that were in France. In order to revive French fashion, Robert Ricci, son of Nina Ricci, who was a famous couture, came up with the idea of hosting a fashion show exhibit. The relatively new concept involved displaying miniature mannequins that were adorned with pieces by different designers. The reason why they had to use miniature mannequins was to prevent designers from using a lot of material just to show off their work. During the exhibition, potential buyers would pay up front to have a design made in their size. The exhibit would later become known as Theatre de la Mode and was held at the Louvre, France. It was a huge success for Balenciaga. Riding on the momentum, Balenciaga took the designs on tour around Europe and America. Sales were up, but Cristobal knew there was still work to be done. In 1955, he released the iconic tunic dress. This plain-looking dress made a very huge statement. At a time when dresses were getting tighter and gaudier, this tunic was a welcome change. 2 years later, he doubled down and released the equally iconic sack dress. In 1958, the baby doll dress was released. These amazing dresses established Cristobal as one of the best innovative designers in France. Cristobal was known for the use of his hands in his artistic expressions. It's said that even to this day, there are some of Cristobal's pieces that cannot be replicated by machine. By 1968, he'd worked in the fashion industry for nearly 30 years. It was at this time that he announced his wishes to retire. Added to this announcement was another shocking statement that Balenciaga would be shut down. The news sent the media into a frenzy, speculating why Cristobal would rather close down his thriving business rather than hand it over to someone else, like Oscar de la Renta or Hubert de Givenchy after retiring. Cristobal lived a very private life. He permanently withdrew from the spotlight. Cristobal never made an appearance in any of his fashion shows and also never revealed the details of his personal life. In fact, Cristobal granted only 2 interviews in his lifetime, both of which were conducted after he retired. Ultimately, Balenciaga was just a creative outlet for him, a means to share his gift with the world. As he would no longer be designing, he didn't wish for the fashion house to exist. Cristobal believed his imprint on the fashion industry and how it shaped the careers of younger designers was sufficient to carry on his legacy even after the company closed. Before shutting down, he took time out to recommend his apprentice Hubert de Givenchy to his clientele. This played a massive role in the future success of Givenchy. In 1968, Balenciaga fashion houses in Paris, Madrid, and Barcelona were closed. 4 years later, Cristobal died on the 23rd of March at the age of 77. Following the Women's Wear Daily News headline that read, "The King is dead," the whole fashion industry mourned the loss of an icon. Even the opinionated Coco Chanel only had good things to say. At one point, she described Cristobal Balenciaga as the only couture in the truest sense of the word. Christian Dior, whose designs were always on opposite ends with that of Cristobal's, described him as the master of us all. We know you're already wondering how Balenciaga still exists if Cristobal really closed his business. After closing the fashion house, Cristobal still had the rights to Balenciaga until he passed away. Having lived his life as a closeted gay man, Cristobal had no children and his siblings had all died. There wasn't anybody to actively bring the fashion house back to life, so it remained inactive for years. However, in 1986, the rights to Balenciaga were acquired by Jacques Bogart. Bogart owned a perfume company, and it was believed that he was only interested in the perfume line of Balenciaga, launched back in 1947. Bogart proved this was not the case. He understood the weight of the Balenciaga name in the fashion industry and decided to make a comeback. He hired Michael Gomer, who released Balenciaga's first ready-to-wear line in 1987. In 1992, he was replaced by Josephus Thimister, who was best known for his attempt to bring back high-end fashion. Nicolas Gasquier became the creative head of the house in 1997. Taking inspiration from the works of Cristobal, he stated that he would design clothes for strong women. He went on to launch trends such as the Lariat handbag and the Lego heels. While on a shopping spree of luxury brands, in 2001, Kering acquired Balenciaga alongside others like Saint Laurent, Gucci, Bottega Veneta, Alexander McQueen, and a few others. The following year, Balenciaga unveiled a menswear collection in the fall. In March 2011, a fashion show was held and it featured 120 pieces from Cristobal Balenciaga's career. The fashion show was called Balenciaga in Spain, and it was held in San Francisco at the Young Fine Art Museum. By June, Queen Sofia of Spain and Hubert de Givenchy opened the Museo Balenciaga in Greteria, Cristobal's hometown in Spain. Between 2012 and 2015, Alexander Wang served as the creative director of the fashion house. During that time, Wang created a new dimension of stylish, youthful, and edgy clothes. In 2015, when Wang left, Demna Gvasalia replaced Wang and was given the credit of reviving Balenciaga in ways its past designers after Cristobal could not. He truly picked up right where Cristobal left. Denma's design formula, which is destruct to create, has been widely received and very successful. He introduced streetwear fashion when he began to release oversized, ready-to-wear casual garments. He would also design the Triple S trainer that went on to shape the modern sneaker industry. It is without a doubt that after the death of its founder, it was a rocky road for Balenciaga, as consumers and critics would always compare his iconic works to the basic pieces being released by subsequent designers. But now, under the creative leadership of Denma, Balenciaga is one of the fastest-growing companies in the world of fashion, and its current worth is over $11 billion. Still, there's no shadow of a doubt that none of this would have been possible without the spirit and influence of the genius that was Cristobal Balenciaga.